Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. More coaching news, updates, promotion, finalizing, whatever you want to call it. But it just announced, according to Matt Zenitz with CBS Sports, that USC is expected to name A.J. Howard as outside linebackers coach. This is another in-house promotion, as A.J. Howard joined USC staff last year as a defensive analyst, but also assistant linebackers coach underneath Rob Ryan. So he's been in the room already. And actually, last year, for those that don't know, many of you do know, Rob Ryan was in the booth for all the games. Kind of a question that a lot of people had why that was. But A.J. Howard was actually the coach responsible for the group, like on the sidelines, on the field most of the time during the game. So very actively involved with the linebackers last season. And so now he gets promoted officially to outside linebackers coach, which, I'm going to try to dive into a lot more here in the next couple of weeks, what that role truly means within the entire defensive framework. But I'll give my thoughts on it here in just a minute. But first, just for some background on Howard, for those who don't know, he played in the NFL as a safety for the New England Patriots. And after winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots back during his time in 2019, he began coaching as a graduate assistant for Louisville in 2020. Then he went back to the Patriots organization for 2021 and 2022. He was a Southeast area scout for the Patriots. And then in 2023 through 2024, he was the outside linebackers coach for Appalachian State. So a smaller program, but a really good, solid program out on the East Coast. Spent 2 years there as the outside backers coach. And then, like I said, last year, joined USC as a defensive analyst and linebackers assistant coach. So now he is promoted to that outside backer role. So two things with this. One, obviously more continuity. That's kind of was the theme with Skylar Jones' promotion. Obviously retaining Sean Nua, keeping Rob Ryan on staff in a capacity. We now know it's pretty much as an analyst role, but still can be very involved, obviously, in practices and throughout the weeks. And obviously in game days last year, he was in the booth anyway, so it feels like kind of a somewhat similar role to what he was in. Obviously, he'll just be less hands-on in practice, as now Eckler and Howard will have more of that role. But keeping some of that continuity there of things that were being practiced last year. And, many might hear that and be like, oh man, do we want any continuity in the linebacker room? This is still a group that was very young and learning, and then now will be overseen by Mike Eckler, who's a special teams coordinator and linebackers coach. So he will oversee kind of the group as a whole, but with his emphasis being more kind of on the inside backers. A.J. Howard, or I'm assuming anyway, A.J. Howard on the outside backers, which is interesting because Mike Eckler, when he was the special teams coordinator at Tennessee, he was the outside backers coach. So a lot of what we don't know is how these guys will fully slot in with this new Gary Patterson scheme. So that's what we are going to have to see, because on the surface level, this is just my assumption. On the surface level, this reads to me as, hey, Skylar Jones is promoted to the defensive tackles coach. Sean Nua is essentially your defensive line coach. He's just overseeing the entire defensive line. Mike Eckler is the linebackers coach. A.J. Howard is an emphasis on outside linebackers / kind of edge rushers. Yeah, like we'll see how these guys slot in this scheme, right? Because at 4-2-5, do you really have outside backers, or are they hand in the dirt edges, right? Like based on just the numerical, which again, these are adaptive schemes. These aren't going to be run with the same personnel groupings and the exact same base packages every single play. But the base would be 4 down linemen, meaning 2 edges and only 2 linebackers. So you have your, essentially you're probably Mike and Will, or however they want to call it in that scenario, certainly a Mike, but you'd have your, Desmond Stevens and probably Jaden Walker, and then Cameron Crawford and Braylon Shelby would be considered your edges / outside backers. So this will be the really interesting thing to learn, and especially as we see in spring camp and can talk more with this defensive staff, how this will really play out in terms of what coaches are in charge of what personnel and what players. Because, last year, obviously Crawford, Shelby, Lucas, the young freshman, they would be in Sean Nua's room as edge, with Henny overseeing the D-line, but his focus more on, those tackles and Stewart and all those guys. So now is it kind of shifting a little bit where, hey, Skylar Jones is overseeing the tackles, Sean Nua is overseeing all of them, and A.J. Howard now will kind of oversee Braylon Shelby and Cameron Crawford, with Mike Eckler overseeing Desmond Stevens. Where does Elijah Newby fit in that? Because he played a little bit of both hybrid last year. So it's all going to be really interesting stuff. I don't want to confuse anyone. But the title that Matt Zenitz gave for A.J. Howard was outside linebackers coach. So to me, that's interesting because in a 4-2-5 scheme, it's more of an edge coach, which is what Sean Nua technically was last year. He's not going anywhere. So is he now just deemed the entire defensive line coach? So that is what I will dig into more. I will relay any information we find out on that. Again, this has not even been officially announced yet by the team, but Matt Zenitz is obviously one of the national guys for CBS. That's real plugged in. And A.J. Howard, certainly I think a really good rising star, similar to Skylar Jones, and an integral part of this defense last year, and now gets, a nice little promotion and helps keep some continuity on the staff that was there last year. So it's going to be just interesting how this front seven really plays out with the combination of Nua and Jones and Eckler and Howard, with obviously Rob Ryan kind of as an analyst type role. And then you have all your back-end coaches and obviously Gary Patterson, the mastermind of all of it. So it's going to be fun to see how it plays out, how it shakes out, where these guys slot in. But that's the latest. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I apologize if I was a little confusing, kind of all over the place. That's just kind of how my head was working. But a nice little promotion for A.J. Howard, now your outside linebackers coach, according to Matt Zenitz. Any other new info I get, I'll drop it for you. So make sure you are hitting that like and subscribe button here at the USC LAFB channel. Everyone enjoy your evening. Plenty more coming tomorrow, as always. What's up, Trojan family? Got to tell you about a quick update from our friends over at Sleeper. Remember, they're the #1 sports app and absolutely fantastic for fantasy and daily fantasy, but they've just added a fantastic new features, and they've launched team picks. So now you can choose winners of each game out there, whether it's NBA, MLB. I know football's over. It's coming back soon. Don't worry. NHL, all those. And you just pick the team winner of each of those games. So here in Los Angeles, Lakers, whoever they're playing next. Do you pick the Lakers? Do you pick their opponent? Dodgers season just around the corner. Are you picking the Dodgers or are you picking their opponent? It's that easy, it's that simple, and it's that much fun. So aside from fantasy, aside from the daily fantasy pick'em, now you can do the team picks that they just launched. So download the Sleeper app today, #1 sports app. Go and check it out and have a ton of fun, and make sure to keep it right here at USC LAFB.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.